G'day everybody, it's BILLO and welcome back to another episode of 5KYarns on the road to parkrunday with BILLO, where every barcode has a story. Today is Saturday the 25th of July 2026 and I'm back home in Wodonga after another fantastic parkrun adventure going to this one solo. This morning I visited Torquay parkrun for event 392 and I've got to say this wasn't just another parkrun tourism trip. It was one of those locations where the destination itself has a story that's recognised around the world. When you hear the name Torquay, chances are you immediately think about surfing. You think about Bells Beach and the classic. You think about surfing brands such as Rip Curl and Quicksilver, which was actually born in Torquay. And of course, the start of the Great Ocean Road. And exactly that's why I wanted to visit. Not just because there was another parkrun to add to the list, but because I wanted to understand why this place has become so iconic. As many of you know by now, these trips aren't just about running a 5K or walking them these days, as generally I would like to put my hand up for tail walking. They're also about discovering the places, meeting the locals, learning the history, supporting another parkrun community, and sharing those stories with all of you. So grab yourself a drink, head out for a walk, while you listen to me rattle on, or simply sit back and relax. Because today we're heading back to Victoria's beautiful surf coast. Welcome to The Search. Now the reason I came up with this title for this particular episode is the search for me really is about two things with this place. Well, not just about this place, but the search in general. Quite often we want to go out and search and discover new parkruns, what they're about, and to be able to share that information with our friends, particularly parkrun friends, but also the search and discover new locations around there and the history of the place. But the other thing which really jumps out at me is watching those surfers as they're waiting and searching for the perfect wave. Very ironic. Now, the journey for this parkrun adventure started on Friday afternoon. Like many of our parkrun weekends, this one started after work on the Friday. Now, I might have mentioned it before, but I haven't, so I've generally got a rule of thumb. Rule of thumb is this, that if I have to drive more than 400 kilometres or 4 hours, I will generally choose to travel the day before, as I think a 4 a.m. start is early enough. I have actually done one before where I was driving from home and just south of Sydney to the Southern Highlands that same morning, and I think from memory I left home at 3:15, and that was a long day. So anywho, let's get on with it. So as soon as I finished work, I headed home to pack my bag with all the things I needed for an overnighter. Now these days it doesn't usually take me long. My overnight bag filled with obviously my parkrun gear, generally a change of clothes, charging cables, possibly a book, headphones, and a few other bits and pieces. Then it's just a matter of just shuffling vehicles around in our driveway, because we have too many vehicles in our driveway. I mean, that in itself is a big exercise. So jump in the car, off we go. I generally also try and make sure that the vehicles are fueled, ready to go, because who wants to be mucking around, pulling into a petrol station, filling up, doing what you got to do. So rule of thumb is generally this: finish parkrun, get back to my home base, refuel the vehicles, wash it if necessary, then park it up. Now, I am fortunate enough I've got two personal vehicles, which generally these days are really only being used on weekends and for my parkrun adventures, as I'm fortunate enough to have a job where I have a company vehicle that I use during them. So this weekend's destination was to Torquay, as I've already mentioned. From home in Wodonga, that's a drive of 412 kilometres and around 4 hours and 20 minutes. Now, I know some people probably think we're a little crazy driving over 4 hours for a parkrun, but for us, particularly if we extend our stay, it's never just about the parkrun. It's about spending time together. And that's, of course, if Lila is with me. On this one, she wasn't. Exploring somewhere new, supporting another local event, finding a nice cafe afterwards, and making memories that we'll still be talking about years from now. That's what parkrun tourism has become for us, making memories. The parkrun gives us a reason to travel. Everything else becomes a part of the adventure. One of the things I really enjoy about the drive itself is that there's generally no pressure, no deadlines, providing we can leave reasonably early and not sort of get to the destination real late. We generally don't like to rush. We'll normally stop along the way, grab a coffee, grab a drink, maybe grab something to eat. But just the two of us. So again, as I mentioned, just Lila. We head off for another weekend of parkrun. This one I did a solo. As the kilometres roll by, the scenery slowly begins to change. Not that we could really see the scenery much or can see the scenery much, particularly this time of year, as I mentioned in my last video. It gets dark so early. But we're driving by headlights. So northeast Victoria gave way to Melbourne, and then Melbourne gradually disappeared behind us. Before long, we're heading towards Victoria's famous surf coast. Well, that's just how I imagined it. You know, clinging on to a bit of wishful thinking there. Anyone travelling from Melbourne to Torquay, it is only 104 kilometres southwest of the CBD, or roughly an hour and 18 minutes thereabouts. Close enough for a day trip. Far enough away that you immediately feel like you've escaped the city. Now, one has to love it when they hit Melbourne during Friday PM peak hour. In saying that, peak hour just seems to be all day these days. So as we skirt around the western side of the city, from the Hume down to the M1, I think in total it's 29 kilometres thereabouts. Takes a bit over an hour, bumper to bumper. Start, stop, until we get a clear run. Usually somewhere south of the Werribee interchange. So for the trip, I stayed at the Torquay Tropicana Motel. Now, one reason I chose this location is because of how close it was to the parkrun, and it was also relatively cheap, and it wasn't too bad. So it was a studio type kind of accommodation where you've got your bed, your eating table, a bit of a kitchenette, all in the one area, and then obviously you've got your ensuite usually attached to it. But arriving in Torquay wasn't just about visiting that parkrun, obviously, and as I've already mentioned, it's about doing other things. And I did a bit of reflecting, and as we drove through town, memories I'd almost forgotten started coming back. When I was a kid, one of my older brothers, being a child with 5 other siblings, I was the youngest of 6 children. My oldest brother's actually 20 years older than me. And then there's not much of a gap between 2 and 3. And on this occasion, I was with my second older brother, David, and his family. Reckon from memory, I would have been about 15 years old. So if that serves me right, and thinking about it, would have been around 1986. I went there for a week during the school holidays with, as I said, my brother David and his family. I remember staying at the caravan park just on the beach. So as I actually drove past there today, I did recognise the area. As you come in, you go through town, you wind your way down, and you obviously go, I think, around a big roundabout, and you just see the ocean. I remember it wasn't far from that. I just remember, obviously, being a kid growing up in Wodonga, getting to the beach and seeing the surf was a real treat, and I really enjoyed it. Now, back then, Torquay felt enormous. Well, as I said, 1986. We're now 2026. 40 years later, and Torquay is just like nothing like I can remember, particularly the main town area. It's just exploded and grown. That's progress, and that happens in most cases. And it's funny how when we look at things through children's eyes, everything back then does seem big, but it's definitely not as big as it is now. Now, I remember even walking down from the caravan park, down the little sandy tracks over the sand dunes. That even in itself was an adventure. And I do have one memory that come flooding back almost instantly as I got to that point. I remember trying to have a go at a surf ski, I think from memory, jumping on that, paddling out, got tipped over, and I got absolutely pummeled and smashed to the bottom into the sand. And I remember coming up, coughing up a lot of seawater. I almost drowned. It's not the sort of memories you really want to remember, but it was good, even though it was quite scary at the time as well. So anyway, it's funny how memories work. 40 odd years later, standing back in Torquay, I still picture that exact moment. Only this time, instead of a young bloke chasing waves, I was back chasing another parkrun story. It's funny how life takes you on these journeys. After checking the motel, decided to obviously get some dinner, and I definitely went to my go-to pizza and just chilled for the rest of the night. I think it was probably one of the earliest nights I've had for a while. Getting to sleep, I was exhausted. So at this stage, I know I had already knew and understood a lot about Torquay and the history. I'd studied the course. I obviously had read the reviews. I knew all about Bells Beach. But there was still one question left unanswered, and that's what was Torquay Parkrun all about? And why do people keep coming back here? Well, this is what I found out this morning. Now, before I visit any parkrun, I like reading what other people have to say. Not because I want to know everything before I arrive, but because I enjoy hearing what stood out for them. Before coming to Torquay, I opened the Parkrun app and starting reading through the visitors' reviews. One person described it simply as a nice out and back course. It's a little bit more trickier than just a straightforward out and back course, anyway. They also mentioned the gravel pathways, the exposed conditions when the wind picks up, but saying the spectacular ocean views make every step worthwhile. After experiencing it today, I can absolutely vouch for that. Another reviewer spoke about the beautiful scenery. So the course follows the coastline before looping around at the turnaround. Now, there's two little turnarounds, and I'll explain that further as we get into this podcast. They mentioned the narrow section, which I will also cover, becoming busy when participants' numbers are high. But what really stood out to them wasn't the course, it was the volunteers. The welcoming atmosphere, the cafe right beside the start-finish. They even suggested bringing your swimmers, because after parkrun there's nothing stopping you cooling off with a swim in the ocean. Now, with 11 degrees, I'm not that keen. Ambient air temperature. There were plenty of surfers out there enjoying the waters today, and every single one of them had a wetsuit on. Sure. Another reviewer called it the perfect beachside parkrun. They weren't wrong. Firm granite pathways, friendly volunteers, beautiful scenery, and great coffee afterwards. As I finished reading those reviews, I realised something. Not one person talked about chasing a PB. Go figure. Not one person mentioned about trying to break the course record. Instead, they just spoke about the scenery, the volunteers, the atmosphere, the beach, the cafe and the coffee, and definitely the sense of community. That told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't going to be a parkrun about racing. It was going to be a parkrun about experiencing a place. Then I started thinking about Torquay itself. The surface, Torquay has always been known as the search for the perfect wave. Generation after generation has come here chasing the dream. Standing on the surf coast, watching the Southern Ocean roll in. It's easy to understand why. Maybe, just maybe, parkrunners are searching for something too. Not waves, not trophies, not even personal best times. Maybe we're searching for welcoming communities, beautiful places, stories worth sharing, because that's what keeps bringing us back every Saturday morning. Not just the 5Ks. I'm sure there are many people out there that are there just for the 5Ks, do their time, don't volunteer, don't go to the cafe. They're there for the time, and that's okay. I love going to parkrun. These days, more so, for everything, other than chasing the time. It's about enjoying the moment, enjoying the place, enjoying the people. And with that in the back of my mind, called it a night. Because today, as we discovered, Torquay Parkrun is one of Australia's favourite coastal parkruns. Now that I sit here recording this podcast, some 13 hours later, definitely agree. Now, I arrived with a familiar feeling of anticipation that comes with visiting a new parkrun. After a good night's sleep, and I did actually have a good night's sleep, but it's extremely rare for me when I go awake anywhere. And I don't know, I just really was relaxed and just slept well. Now, it was only a short 3 minutes or 1.3 Ks from the accommodation. As I said, I stayed at the Torquay Tropicana Motel down to Fisherman's Beach, where Torquay Parkrun calls home. As I pulled into the car park, and Jules would have seen from the video on the startup, I had to drive around a little bit, but I did end up getting a pretty good spot. The first thing I noticed wasn't the start line, it was definitely the ocean. The Southern Ocean stretches out beside the course and immediately reminds me why people fall in love with this place. Now, I was having a conversation with my fellow tail walker around this, and it's an interesting topical situation. Wouldn't even say it's a debate. We're all familiar with the alphabet, parkrun alphabet. T's are a dime a dozen. Now, one thing I can tell you, and I have actually heard this before, interesting thing, all right, with this place is that those people that are chasing alphabets, you're not going to chase it for a team. I reckon there's merit. Maybe the event ambassador who looks after Torquay, maybe the event directors who obviously got it up and running, or may not even be the same ones, I don't know. Whoever's watching this, comment on that. That's all cool. But if you're not aware, going back to when Torquay was established, it was a common practice to name a parkrun location after the town or city that it resides in or suburb. Now, it's what they call their naming convention. The preference is to name it after the space it occupies or something immediately in the location. And there have been a number of parkruns in Australia that have changed names, and the most recent one that I can recall, the beginning of this year, Lorne Parkrun in Tasmania was changed to Inveresk Precinct Parkrun after the location of which that area occupies. So it's possible to change the name. So where I'm going with this is, as I mentioned, teas are a dime a dozen. Now, the bay area that stretches or covers this area where Torquay is known as Zilly Bay with a Z. Now, there's only 2 other Zs in Australia. Wouldn't it be great if Victoria had a Z? The positive impact of that. I mean, look, I suppose they don't need tourism as it is. Tourism's already a pretty popular thing in Torquay. So maybe that's the reason why they don't feel the need to change it, but I just think it's definitely got some merit. So Zilly Bay stretches along the Torquay foreshore from Point Impossible in the east to Point Danger in the west. And it's, of course, the home of Torquay Front Beach, which is where Torquay Parkrun is. So Zilly Bay, come on Torquay, consider it. I think it'll be a positive thing, particularly for parkrun. Sure, your purists are going to get upset and so forth, but I'm sure they will very quickly come back to a place, a cool sounding place like Zilly Bay Parkrun, Torquay. Would it be hard? Anyway, get on with it. Now, the Southern Ocean, as I mentioned, does stretch out beside the course, and it immediately reminds me why people fall in love with this place. Volunteers were already setting up. Locals were catching up over coffee. Visitors were introducing themselves. It was just another Saturday morning, just like hundreds of other parkruns around Australia, yet completely unique at the same time. Now, today's event was event 392. There were 187 finishers, and me being the tail walker, I got the 187th token. There was also 12 wonderful volunteers who made the morning possible. Now, without those volunteers, as we know, there would simply be nothing. Now, before we set off, let's talk about the course, because I reckon it's one of Torquay's real highlights. This isn't your typical flat beachfront parkrun. The course isn't out and back, but with 2 loops cleverly worked into the layout. The event team has done a terrific job placing signs throughout the course, so as long as you're paying attention and your eyes are up and looking, you shouldn't get lost. You'll have no problem following the correct route. The entire course is run on 100% compacted gravel. Overall, it's a really good sound surface. If it's been dry, even a road shoe will get you through comfortably. But personally, I would still recommend a hybrid shoe or a light trail shoe, particularly if it's been raining the week before leading up to the parkrun, and also even if it's going to be raining during parkrun itself. There are a few low-lying sections that will naturally collect water, so expect a puddle or 2 on those wet days. One area I'd also like to mention is the section where the course runs alongside Beach Road. Now, one of the reviewers did mention this. The event team places bunting along this stretch to help keep everyone safe on the course and discourage people from stepping onto the road if things become congested. Under the conditions in setup of a parkrun, there's no way that would pass now. So it's good to see that the event team have taken a proactive measure by putting some colourful flag buntings. You would have seen it in the video. But when you are going through this stretch, I think from memory it's probably maybe 100 metres. It's not a huge distance. Just be patient. If you're overtaking, do it courteously. Remember, you're sharing the path not only with other parkrunners, but also members of the public who are out enjoying their morning as well. And that's what parkrun should be all about, respecting everyone using the space, whether they're a parkrunner or not. Now, even though this is a coastal course, don't expect a flat as a pancake course. Now, my Garmin showed an elevation gain of around 23 to 25 metres, just enough to keep things interesting without becoming too difficult. And yes, dogs are welcome at Torquay Parkrun, providing they are on a short handheld lead in accordance with Parkrun Australia's dog policy. Also find public toilets conveniently located near the Salty Dog Café, right beside the start finish area. Now this week I had the privilege of volunteering as a tail walker, as already mentioned. So once again I had the best seat in the house. There's something really special about walking with the final participants. You get to have conversations. You get to encourage people. You get to take your time generally. And of course, I also put my hand up to be their photographer for today because they didn't have one. So there's also an opportunity to take plenty of photographs as photographer. Now, if you've noticed on my Strava trace during the video version of this episode, you'll probably wonder why one of the loops goes in the opposite direction, and that's the one right at the end. And there's a simple explanation behind this. I did it in the reversed order, just so that I could capture everybody and not miss, taking photographs of anyone on the course. If I had have gone the other way, I would have got the back end of them. But even then, I probably wouldn't have done that because I would have only gone as far as the second tail walker. Lovely lady who was collecting the signs along the way. And she had no hesitation in doing that because she knew that I was also taking photos. And we had, during in-between gaps when there was no runners, having such a lovely conversation. Now, as I said, I went the opposite way. So you would have picked that up. If you've done Torquay before and you were looking at the video and you saw the bet, you would have thought, hang on, he's going the wrong way. Well, that's my explanation for it, okay? The other part is my Garmin only recorded 4.8 kilometres. Now, I reckon this has got to do with the starting and the stopping and the auto stop when you stop moving. That sometimes it takes a bit of time for the GPS aspect to click back on. And over the 5 kilometres, ended up being 200 metres short. But you know what? It's to me, it's not sheep station type kind of stuff. It's about enjoy the moment, being there. I couldn't care less even if it only recorded 3 kilometres, to be fair. I really do enjoy getting out and doing what I've been doing and being able to present these podcasts and videos to people, which I'll always say thank you to people that acknowledge and watch it and get something out of it. I've had so many people leave comments on the videos. Thank you. That means a lot to me. So anyway, took plenty of photos this morning. I think I ended up uploading 400 photos. And that's not even including all the video stuff that I've put into this. You won't see many photos in this. You want to check out the photos? Go and check out the Torquay Parkrun's Facebook page. The link for that is in the description, along with a link to the official Parkrun website page for Torquay Parkrun, and also a link to the Salty Dog Café's Facebook page so you can check that out. Volunteering. What a great thing to do. It certainly makes me smile every time I go out there and people show their appreciation for what you do. I don't do it for that. I do it. I do. I'll be honest with you. I do it. I get so much satisfaction by people just acknowledging, saying thank you. Thank you for volunteering. It does mean a lot. And I know that as I was coming back, as I was going out, actually, the marshal that was stationed right near the yacht club driveway was looking up at the sky behind her, and she said to me, I don't like the look of those clouds. I think it's going to rain. I looked back in the same direction and said, nah, we'll be right. It never rains at Parkrun. And you know what? Somehow it didn't. Clouds drifted around us. The sun even popped out a couple of times during the course of the morning, as you would see in the videos. Photos if you're looking through the Facebook page. And the rain actually didn't arrive until I was well and truly on my way home. Don't think it rained at all the whole time I was down there, even when which I'll obviously explain a bit further as we get into the finer detail of these podcasts. I can't believe it's been over 34 minutes, so I hope you haven't all gone to sleep yet. I've still got some good stuff to come. But it didn't rain at Parkrun. So the fastest finisher today was a young gentleman by the name of Jacob Sweeney, crossing the line in a blistering time of 17 minutes 59 seconds. And as for me, bringing it home in last place, which is my job as a tail walker, 56 minutes and 22 seconds. And that's exactly where I like it. I wouldn't be doing the job justice as a tail walker if I had some ridiculous fast time. Not that I've got that capability in me anymore, just don't. Now after parkrun, I actually headed back to the motel first because I just still needed to check out. Quick shower, change of clothes, pack the bags up, repack it back into the Prado. I then made my way down to the Salty Dog Café because obviously a few people have been talking about it this morning, particularly volunteers. I thought it must be a pretty special place, go and check it out. By the time I got there, most of the parkrun crowd and community had already disappeared, which actually suited me perfectly. No, it sounds bad. I usually do like to have a bit of a chat and so forth, but it's just nice to be able to just sit down there and just enjoy the atmosphere. Today I had a ham, cheese and tomato toasted sandwich and of course my usual dirty chai. Sitting outside with the view across the ocean, I watched surfers paddling out and trying to catch wave after wave. One of those moments where there was no rush to go anywhere. The Salty Dog has a really solid menu that caters for just about everyone. If you're there after breakfast, there's everything from eggs Benedict, smashed avocado and chili scrambled eggs, through to brekkie bowls, zucchini, corn fritters and baked beans. If you're dropping in later in the day, there are burgers, fish and chips, calamari, lamb salad and plenty of other lunch options. The coffee menu is extensive too, with all the usual favourites, plus smoothies, ice drinks and milkshakes. Price-wise, I'd probably describe it as about what you'd expect for a quality cafe in a popular Victorian coastal town. Not cheap, not expensive, just about what I'd anticipated. Just honestly, the best thing wasn't the menu, it was definitely the view. Looking out across the ocean while surfers search for the next wave just seemed to be like a perfect lead into my next stop. Now, as I've mentioned, Torquay's pretty famous for the surf culture. In one location that I needed to go and check out, and I don't even think I went there as a young kid. Can't recall it, but I can see why. You know, it's on the competition circuit for the waves. You just kept rolling in. The destination was Bells Beach, so obviously with brunch finish, I headed out to visit Bells Beach. Now the car park was absolutely packed. It's kind of bizarre, I guess, being winter. If that's what it's like now in winter, I'd hate to imagine what it would be like during summer or when the Rip Curl Pro was in town. I don't even think you get a parking spot anywhere. Again, if anyone's experienced that, been to the Pro, check it out. What's the arrangement for transport too? Is there parking spots closer to town and get buses out or what? I'd love to get some comments. I did spend a little bit of time here filming the surface, making the most of the conditions. It was a little bit cool, but slight breeze, but it wasn't too bad. Now, if you're listening to this as a podcast, you'll have to jump across to my YouTube channel to see the footage. And the link is also in the description. On both the audio, you'll find the video link. In the video, you'll find the audio link. Worth checking out. Now, before heading home, I couldn't resist one final detour. I didn't have time today to do the full entire length of the Great Ocean Road, and I think from memory it's about 180 kilometres. I drove as far as Lorne, which, you know, was long enough because you still could see some quality, picturesque, again, as you can see in the video. So I drove to Lorne. So the Great Ocean Road isn't just one of Australia's greatest scenic drives. It's also one of the world's largest war memorials. Now, as you leave Torquay and travel towards Anglesea, you'll pass beneath the famous Memorial Arch. See it in the video. One of those places that's worth stopping for a few minutes, not just for a photo, but to appreciate the incredible effort and sacrifice behind one of Australia's most iconic roads. You'll see plenty of that drive in the video version of this episode. Now, before heading home, as mentioned, decided to take the long way. After all, you can't come to Torquay without having a drive and at least experiencing some of the Great Ocean Road. As I left Torquay and headed in a westerly direction towards Lorne, I found myself thinking about how many millions of people have travelled this road over the years. Most come for the scenery, the beaches, the cliffs, the ocean. But what many people don't realise is that this road tells a much bigger story. The Great Ocean Road isn't just one of Australia's most spectacular coastal drives. As I mentioned, it is the world's largest war memorial. The idea for the road was born shortly after the First World War. Australia had lost more than 60,000 servicemen. 1,000 more returned home carrying the physical and emotional scars of the conflict. There was a real need to provide employment for these return diggers, while also creating something that would honour those who never made it home. Construction officially began on the 19th of September 1919. More than 3,000 servicemen worked on the project over the following 13 years, finally completing the road in November of 1932. It was officially opened later that month. Now back then, there was no modern excavators, there was no GPS-controlled bulldozers, no rock-cutting machinery like we use today. Most of the work was done the hard way, with picks, shovels, wheelbarrows, crowbars, horse and drays, and where the cliffs were simply too solid to cut through, gelignite and dynamite. It was dangerous, back-breaking work. The men lived in canvas tents, camps scattered along the coastline, often isolated for weeks at a time. Food and supplies had to be brought in over the rough bush tracks or by sea. Some sections of the road advanced by only 3 kilometres a month because of the rugged terrain they were working through. Sadly, however, and at the time, not every worker made it home. Several men lost their lives during the construction. It was a reminder that even though the war had ended, danger hadn't. As I continued driving towards Anglesea, I passed beneath the famous Memorial Arch at Eastern View. Originally erected, as I said, originally erected in 1939, the arch honours both the men who built the road and those who served during the First World War. Current structure has been rebuilt over the years after road widening, bushfires and storm damage. But its meaning has never changed. It's one of those places where I think it's worth pulling over. Not just for the photo, but to pause for a moment and to appreciate the determination and the sacrifice of the men who carved a road through some of Australia's most unforgiving coastline, using little more than hand tools, explosives and just sheer determination. Every bend, every cutting, every lookout was earned the hard way. You've got to reflect on that and just appreciate that. Today, millions of tourists drive the Great Ocean Road every year. Many probably don't even realise they're travelling along a living memorial. A memorial built not from bronze or stone, but from rock, sweat and sacrifice. For me, that knowledge made the drive towards Lorne even more meaningful. Now, I've driven the Great Ocean Road several times. The last time was 10 years ago, and none of this was even in my mind at the time. And that's what I love about doing these videos and parkrun, being a part of that, is to be able to bring the stories and just do some research and just really reflect. I think it's making me a better person just by sharing this with you as well. So thank you for allowing me to do that. This drive just wasn't just another scenic drive. It was a chance to travel through an important chapter of Australian history. As I began the 4 and a bit hours drive back home to Wodonga, I found myself reflecting what had been another terrific parkrun day. Yes, Torquay is famous for Bells Beach. It's famous for Rip Curl. It's famous for Quicksilver. It's a gateway to the Great Ocean Road and one of Australia's greatest coastal destinations. They're all fantastic reasons to visit, but that's not why I came. The real reason I drove 412 kilometres from Wodonga was to experience Torquay Parkrun. And once again, it reminded me exactly why I love parkrun tourism. It wasn't about the finish line, wasn't about adding another location to my growing list. Wasn't even about ticking another event off the map. It was about meeting another welcoming community, sharing a Saturday morning with people I'd never met before, and I had some lovely conversations today. Walking beside the Southern Ocean, watching complete strangers encouraging one another, and seeing volunteers freely give up their own Saturday morning so that everyone else can enjoy theirs. To the entire Torquay Parkrun event team, thank you. Thank you to the run director. Thank you to each and every volunteer who made event 392 possible. Whether you were scanning barcodes, marshalling out on course, timekeeping, setting up, packing away, or simply offering a smile and a good morning, you made every visitor feel genuinely welcome. It's something that should never be taken for granted. To the marshal near the yacht club, you're almost right about the rain. Thankfully, the parkrun weather gods were smiling on all of us once again today. The rain held off until I was well and truly on my way home. For anyone considering visiting Torquay Parkrun, I can honestly recommend it. Come for the ocean views. Come for the surf culture. Come for Bells Beach. Stay for breakfast at the Salty Dog Café. Take a drive along the Great Ocean Road. Most importantly, come because you'll be welcomed into another wonderful parkrun community. And that's what this podcast is always been about. Not simply collecting events, but collecting stories. This weekend, my search brought me to one of Australia's most iconic coastal towns. What I found wasn't just another beautiful location. I found another passionate volunteer team, another welcoming community. Another reminder that no matter where you travel across Australia or the world, parkrun always feels a little like coming home. I'm Billo. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of 5KYarns on the road to Parkrun Day with Billo. If you enjoyed this episode today, don't forget you can also watch the full video version or even listen to the audio version. Video version's available through my YouTube channel. Links are in the description. You can also listen to the audio version while you're driving or exercising with your headphones, going for a walk, whatever, through Spotify, Podbean, and Apple Podcasts. I hope you've enjoyed this adventure and this story from my time at Torquay Parkrun, Bells Beach, and my drive along the spectacular Great Ocean Road. Be it was only 25, 30 Ks, I can honestly say the other 150 odd is well worth it as well. As I mentioned, the links to all this information is in the description. So until next Parkrun Day, travel safely, be kind to one another, always thank a volunteer, and remember, every barcode has a story. I'll catch you on the next adventure. Bye.